Hello everyone, I'm Namita Piparaya and welcome to Yoganama. In today's session, we are going to work on the upper body as well as some soothing, relaxing stretches for the side body. For this practice, it will be good for you to have two blocks and we will start in a tabletop position, slightly modified. So use the two blocks and rest your forearms on the blocks like this, palms facing each other, and just be here for a few moments, getting used to this position, understanding what's happening in your shoulders while you maintain this posture. Now, as soon as you come here, you may notice, some of us may notice that our shoulders tend to be like this, very much close to the ears. I want you to reverse that and press the forearms into the block to create more distance between the ear and the shoulders as well as between the chest and the ground. So I don't want your chest to be sinking towards the floor. Let it lift up as if someone's pulling you up by a thread tied to your spine, helping you elevate and create that distance. That itself should generate some heat. Now let's make this a little dynamic. I want you to inhale, come into a cow position, and then as you exhale, come into a cat position. So this is cat-cow. You may have done it in a tabletop position with your palms on the ground, but we are modifying it just to help you build awareness in a slightly different way. And when we try new movement, we build new patterns in our brain as well. So explore this, learn this, see how it feels, how it is different from the one or from the way you may be used to doing this. Let's do a few more. Don't forget the breath. Keep coordinating the movements with your breath. And last one, exhale. Let the spine come to a neutral position. From here, let's come into scapular push-ups. Now go back to what I told you not to do earlier on, which is sink the chest to the ground and on an exhale, push the ground away. So let's do this intentionally, sinking the chest to the ground and then exhaling, pushing the ground away, rounding the shoulders, separating the shoulder blades. So this is helping us build more stability around the shoulder joint, which is going to help us in today's practice, in our posture, as well as this is a technique that is good to know before you attempt any of the postures in yoga which require balancing on your hands, your arms, or even for postures such as headstand. So let's do a few more, bringing in intention, bringing in strength into the practice, sinking the chest down, exhale, and let's come to neutral. Take a breath here. And now just to give ourselves some relief from the practice we've been doing, we'll come into extended child pose. You can keep the blocks with you or you can let the blocks go. Either ways is fine. I'm simply bringing my forehead to the ground, resting my palms on the blocks. If this is difficult, we can let go of the blocks and rest the forehead on the ground like this. Do whatever feels good and let's stay here for a few breaths before we come back on our forearms for some strength work. Just one more breath. And then let's come back onto the forearms. This time, let your knees be slightly behind the hips. So we're not exactly in tabletop. We're more like in this modified forearm plank position. Let's be here just for 5. Again, check in with the chest, check in with the shoulders. 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently bring the navel towards the ground to find yourself in Sphinx position or Salamba Bhujangasana. If you have been doing this for a while and it has become a comfortable posture for you, you can help deepen the back bend a little bit by resting your forearms on these two blocks. And let's breathe. Keep pressing your hands down. So let this posture be active. Let the intention be to rise up, to wake up, to find mobility in the body and not just to passively stretch like this. So rolling the shoulders back, drawing the navel in, pretending as if you want to slide forward. So isometrically the elbows are drawing back and helping you find energy in this posture, which will help you find stability and grounding as you progress in your practice. From here, we are going to move into forearm plank. So tuck the toes in, pull the navel in, lift up, hold up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come down. And if you've been elevated onto blocks, you can keep the blocks to the side. Come back to Sphinx pose on the ground and prepare to move into forearm plank. So you can plant your palms down now, fingers pointing forward, navel pulled in, tuck the toes in. On an exhale, lift up into forearm plank. Hold for a moment. Inhale, come back into Sphinx. Let's do that 2 more times. Exhale, push up into forearm plank, a Falakasana variation. Bring the knees down, belly down, come into Sphinx position. Last one. Exhale, pull the navel in. Let's hold this here for 9, 8, 7, 6. You can do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently bring the navel down and you can rest your chin on your hands, resting one palm on top of the other or resting your forehead down. Choose your position of rest and use that time to settle your breath and to check in with your shoulders. Check in how they feel. Take your attention and awareness there. And mentally prepare yourself for the next posture, for which we will need a block again. So coming up with the block, we are going to do extended child pose or Nikunjasana, for which I'm going to come onto my knees. And you can come into it from a tabletop position as well. What we are going to do is grab the block between the palms and then place the forehead on the ground like we did earlier on in the practice. This time we will lift the block up and hold this here. As you do this movement, you will feel a shift in your shoulders. Be mindful of that. Do something only if it feels comfortable. And feel free to modify. If lifting the block is not comfortable, keep the block down on the ground, but pressing it actively between the hands. Let's choose our variation and hold that for 5 breaths now. Use your breath to ease into the posture and learn to differentiate if there is panic when you try new postures or there is actual pain and discomfort as you move into a position that might seem something new or strange. Once you differentiate between the two, know that if something feels uncomfortable, you should never put yourself through it. But if it's only fear that's blocking your way, then feel free to challenge yourself just a little bit. Let's take one more breath. And now bring the block down. Come forward to Sphinx position like we did earlier. We're spending a fair bit of time here. Tuck the toes in, lift up into plank. This time, interlock the fingers. So you make a nice tripod with your forearm and your hands, or rather your palms, and start to walk your feet forward towards the hands till you feel like you've reached your maximum. And at this point, you can bring your heels down, or you can be lifted up onto your toes. Either option is fine. Choose something that works for you. Check in with the elbows, they will tend to splay out. Keep them pressing towards each other. And let's hold this just for 3 breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. One more time. And then slowly walk your feet back to come into forearm plank, and from there into Sphinx position. From here we are going to move into tabletop. So push back. In tabletop, if you would like, you can keep one block handy if we need it for the rest of the postures. What I'm going to do is straighten my right foot, my right leg rather. Take my left foot back. Right leg extends out. So my right foot now is in line with the left knee. Feel free to adjust yourself so you're on the mat, and take the right hand up. So we come into this variation of side plank, and let's breathe here. If you feel comfortable, feel free to take your right hand up overhead, pointing in the same direction as your left fingertips. And keep breathing. Feel that nice stretch into the side body, as well as the stability that we need in the left shoulder. And you've done a lot of stability work to help you feel more comfortable in this position today. Let's rise up into gate pose or Parigasana. So this time you can point your toes up, or you can let the toes be pointing straight ahead. Choose something that works for you, either is fine, and make your way down into gate pose, coming into a nice side stretch to the left side of the body now. And let's breathe here. Two more breaths. From here we are going to make it a little dynamic, so you can watch first. I'm going to, on an exhale, slowly make my way into side plank, lift the right foot off the ground, rise up and exhale into gate pose. Let's do that a few times, starting now. Exhale down, inhale into gate pose, that's one. Exhale back, side plank, option to lift the leg off and come into gate pose. Each time you come to this movement, you may feel that you can go a little bit deeper, then explore that. Exhale for 3. Very nice. Let's keep going. Just 2 more. Exhale for 4. Last one. Into our side plank, leg lift, and then on an exhale into gate pose. Let's stay in gate pose here again. One deep breath in. If you can, bend your elbow. Place your left hand behind the head and point the chest to the sky. Then explore that as well. So a side body stretch, a nice opening to the chest as well. And you may feel it in your inner thighs too. Let's be here. And then slowly release, come back down to tabletop. And we are going to do this on the other side. We did not use the block, so we will keep it away for this side. I'm going to turn around to be in the frame of the camera. So right foot goes back, left foot turns out, and let's be in our side plank. Option to keep the hand pointing up to the sky or overhead like this. And breathe here.
to check in with the shoulder and the wrist in this position. So bringing the wrist at a complete 90-degree angle can be very challenging. So it's all right if the shoulder is slightly behind the wrist here. If it feels comfortable, you can come into a 90-degree angle at this point, but know that it's not important. And I think that's a couple of breaths done. Let's take one more breath. Inhale. And on an exhale, rise up to come into gate pose. And again, foot can be lifted or planted on the ground. In either option, make sure that when you rest your hand on your left leg, you don't press the leg down because you can create hyperextension in the knee. So let the hand be there just for support, gentle support and balance, not for complete grounding into the posture. Couple more breaths here. And we shall make this dynamic now. So on an exhale, slowly with control, move down into side plank and then rise up with control again as you inhale into gate pose. That's 1. 4 more to go. Exhale, rise up. Inhale, gate pose. Exhale for 3 to side plank. Inhale for 3 to gate pose. For 4, side plank. Rise up to gate. Last one, side plank and gate pose. And let's hold this here now. If you feel comfortable, again, you can take your hand behind and lift your elbow up, which allows you to take your chest to face up the sky as well. So just brings a little different intention to the posture. Keep breathing. And then slowly release. Make your way back to tabletop. And let's take a breather here in child pose with your knees wide, forehead to the ground. We are going to add a little twist here. So I want you to take your left palm on the ground, come onto the pinky finger side of your right hand and let your head rest on your right hand. So you're using your left hand to come into this kind of a twist with the body. Breathe. So you may feel a nice stretch in the right shoulder, also the right lats. Enjoy that. If that's the state you are in right now, if this feels too uncomfortable, release it slightly like this by bringing your chest towards the ground. The more you push the ground away, the deeper the stretch gets. You can even have a block in front of you. Let me show you that. Here is our block. And then continue working on the same twist. The more you elevate the block, the deeper the stretch and opening in the body you can find. So feel free to play around. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. And let's release. To do this on the other side, remember the block is optional. Come to a neutral child pose first. And then press your right palm into the ground. Come onto the pinky finger side of your left hand. So you're leaning on your hand sideways. And if that feels good, stay there. And feel free to regress or progress the posture from here by using a block or by coming towards the ground a little more. If you're using the block, take it to a comfortable height and press into it to allow you to twist and turn. To find that nice release in the side body or the shoulder. Definitely feels good after a long day spent sitting on a chair, working on a computer, or for that matter, driving. Anything that was repetitive and require you to sit for a long time will feel nicely counterbalanced by some of the practice today and maybe even this stretch. Let's take one more breath. And then release your block if you're using one. Extend the hands out, come into child pose. Let's slide forward from here and stay on our belly, but come into a modified restful pose, which is going to be a block under our forehead and our elbows reaching towards each other. Feel free to adjust till you find a position that's comfortable. And stay there. Tune into the experience of having a surface pressing into your forehead. Focus on the areas that are being pressed by the block, the areas that are in contact with the block. Take your awareness there. How does it feel? Uncomfortable? Interesting, indifferent, intense, could be anything. It doesn't matter. All you want to do is describe it to yourself in 2 to 3 words, like an observer, like a witness, not like someone who's actually experiencing it. Check in with the breath. It should be calm now. And if it is so, you can remove the block and rest your forehead down on your hands. Let the body be heavy. Melt into the ground. Check in with your forehead and shoulders, your eyes, your glutes. Consciously relax these areas. And move into a state of complete stillness. A state of serenity. A state of immense calm rushing through your body, relaxing you, healing you, and protecting you. If this is feeling good, I would recommend you stay here for at least 3 minutes more. Though I will say goodbye now because the session will end here. Please do continue your practice, and thank you so much for joining me today.